Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome back to another video. So how about we begin? So this one is the January 2021 paper 2H of the Maths IGCSE Edexcel IGCSE, and as always I like to do a complete walkthrough. Now unlike other papers, I'm going to take my time with this one, and generally speaking we're going to go through everything step by step, and I'm going to do this as if I'm a student like you guys. As always review your formulas, try and memorize as much as by hand. I mean, you're going to use some of these formulas anyway actually, but it's nice to kind of know them in advance. So let's do this guys. So let's start with all the questions. We're going to have 22 questions to do, and we're going to start with number 1. Now let's read this out loud. So a train takes 6 hours 39 minutes to travel from New Delhi to Kanpur. The train travels a distance of 429 kilometers. So let's just note this down. 6 hours and 39 minutes, 429 kilometers. Work out the average speed of the train. Let's do this. So the general formula is always the average speed is speed equals distance over time. Now easy thing about this one, you got your distance already, which is 429 kilometers. And we got our time. Now they want it in kilometers per hour. So the 39 minutes is a bit of a problem. Now easy way to do this, you got 6 hours and you just want to convert to 39 minutes. What I would do, I always write the time as 6 hours plus, because we know that 60 minutes an hour will be a fraction. It'll be 39 over 60. Now, let's put that in a calculator. Let's see what that gives us, guys. So on your fraction bond, you got 429 over 6 plus 39 over 60. And if you just round up, you're going to get a fraction, but you want to round up to one decimal place. You should get 64.5. And the unit is kilometers per hour. As always, you should write answers over here. So 64.5. Nice. So that was a nice easy one. 2. Ava writes down 5 whole numbers. So let's write them down. So I would say A, B, C, D, E. Now for these 5 numbers, the median is 7. So median means the middle number. So this C is automatically a 7. The mode is A. So this means that the most common number is A. And because I'm going to do this in order, we're going to put D and E as being A. So we need at least 2 or more to make it the most common. So 8 has to be here in order. Now the range is 5. So this means the difference between the biggest number and A must be 5. So 8 take away 5 should give us 3. I hope. Yep, 3 plus 5 is 8. Yep. That means B could be literally any number between 3 to 7. So I'm just going to say 4. Now find the possible value for each of the 5 numbers. Boom, that's it. That's our 5 numbers, guys. Easy like that. 3. Gladys buys a table for $465 to sell in a shop. She sells a table for $520. Now, work out the percentage profit that Gladys makes from the sale of the table. Okay, cool. So this is one of those percentage change questions. Now, easy way to do this, guys, and I like to do it right in a certain way, is the percentage change is always the change you get from here. So let's call it the change. And it's always over the original amount. Okay, so in this case, over the original, which is 465. So original. So it's going to be the change. So 520 take away 465 over the original 465. So let's just see what that gives us. If you subtract the 2, so you're going to have 520 minus 465. So guys, remember, make sure you're using the Casio calculator, because there's a lot of questions which you might need it. I mean, you can use other calculators, but that's the brand I prefer. Now, when you get it, you should get an answer of about 0.11827 ... Give your answer to 3 same figures, and they want the percentage. So to change the percentage, just times that by 100, Times it by 100 in your calculator, and then round up, you should get something like 11.8. That's it. That's all you should really get. Okay, next one. Gladys has a sale in the shop. Now she decreases all the normal prices by 12%. Okay, cool. The normal price of armchair was $550. Work out the sale price. Now when you have a question like this, I like to use my classic OV and NV formula, guys. So if you see my videos, it's like this. OV and a 1 plus or minus a rate will give us the new value. Now, because we know it's a decrease, we ain't using the plus, so we're going to be using the minus sign. We know it dropped by 12%. 12% you can write 0.12, easier. And the original value, the normal price, was $550. So therefore, this formula updates to, well, OV is $550. Got 1 minus 12%, so 0.12. and it will give us the new price, or the new value, which is the sale price. Now just plug in your calculator, guys. All of this in the calculator, you should end up with $484, give or take, yeah? Something like that. That should give you a final answer. So, number 4. Okay, now on the grid, draw and label the straight line with equations. Okay, you've got 3 types of equations. X equals 1.5, y equals x plus 5 equals 6. Now, I'm doing this freehand here, so I don't actually have a ruler here, but definitely use a ruler for this, guys. So, using my freehand, I'm going to firstly sketch x equals 1.5. Every time you got a coordinate equaling a value, that's just a straight line at that coordinate. So 1.5 is basically here, yeah? So here's 1.5, and we're going to shoot this upwards. So remember, in your case, use a bold line, not a dotted line. You have to do like a nice dark line. And we're going to label this line. So this is x equals 1.5, yeah? Always got to label your things. Next one is y equals x. Well, this is quite easy. Y equals x is just a diagonal line from the origin. If you're not sure sometimes what it looks like, just plug in a coordinate. So for example, you got x and y. If x is 1, and you plug in here, you're going to have 1 equals 1. If x is 2, you're going to get 2. So you can see the coordinates are 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. So it's going across here. So you just draw a straight line like here. Make sure you hit across every diagonal, yeah, and use a ruler. Again, not like me, yeah. And then label this, guys, y equals x. That's your second equation. Now, last one. This is the other one. X plus y equals 6. Same thing applies here. Just draw a nice little box method, x, y. Pick a value for x. Let's say x is 1. 1 plus something should give us 6, right? So 1 plus 5. So the first coordinate is 1, 5. Let's pick a 0. And x is 0. 0 plus something is 6. 0 plus 6, obviously. So here's our two coordinates, 1, 5 and 0, 6. Well, 1, 5 is here. 0, 6 is here. So you can see it's a downward shape, yeah? So we're going to draw a downward shape. So I'll change the color of the pen. And just make sure it connects into the box nicely, yeah? It's actually going to go all the way to 6. Yeah, and that's how it should look like. You should get a nice little triangle shape here as well. Now, part B. Show by shading on the grid the region that satisfies all 3 of these inequalities. Okay, so here comes inequalities, guys. What does this mean? Well, it says here the first one, x is greater than or equal 1.5. So that means you're going to shade everything greater than 1.5. So we draw this x equals 1.5 line. So you shade in the right hand side of it. But we're not going to shade all of it, but we know it's going to be somewhere on the right hand side. So what we do, we cross out the left hand side. It means we're not going to use this side. We're going to basically just eliminate what we're not doing. Now for this one, y greater than or equal to x. So what does that mean here? So here's your diagonal line we drew, y equals x. Y is greater than or equal to x, meaning if you pick an x coordinate for, so let's write this down. If you pick an x coordinate, let's say x is 1, that means we pick a value equal greater than 1. So let's say 2. And this is true. So you need something that's true. So that means our first coordinate could be 1, 2. That is a true statement. So where's 1, 2? 1, 2 is here. This means that anything above here is true. That means anything below here is false. So below the diagonal line is false. So this means all of this region is false. Okay, so remember we're trying to reject it, and then finally we're going to shade in the one that's true. Now, x plus y is less than or equal to 6. Same thing applies, yeah? So we just need to pick something that's true. So, for example, we can say 2 plus 3 is less than or equal to 6. That's true because 5 is less than 6. So we can pick that coordinate, 2 and 3. So where's 2, 3? 2, 3 is here. So this region is true. That means, you see this red line? This red line is pretty much the equation we had earlier. Oh yeah, I didn't even label it, did I? This is x plus y, or y plus x equals 6. So this bottom line is true, means this line is false. So that means the only possibility left, the only region that is not shaded, or that isn't false, is this little triangle. So that's what we shade in, guys. So you're going to shade it in. Let's just use what you would use. You would use your pencil probably, or your pen, I guess. And you're going to label it R. Just like that, yeah. And just label it R. That's it. That's all they want to see, yeah. These X's really help. It just helps eliminate sides, yeah. Now, let's move on. And how is that 1 mark? Come on, that's a lot of work for 1 mark. Alright, 5. Expand and simplify 4x times 2x plus 5 minus 3x times 2x minus 3. Okay, so expand firstly these two. So 4x times 2x is ax squared. 4x plus times 5 is 20x. Now, minus 3x times 2x is minus 6x squared. Minus 3x times minus 3 is positive 9x. So be careful with the sign. Yeah, the sign's here to trip us up. Now, collect the like terms. So like term means pretty much ones of the same kind of terms, like x squares. Ax squared minus 6x squared is 2x squared. 20x plus 9x is plus 29x. That's it. Just like that, yeah? Now, given that you've got a fraction and equals y to the 13, so here's indices and powers, work out the value of n. What I'll do, when you multiply power bases, you add up the powers. If you divide it, you subtract the powers. So in this case, you can think of it as y to the power of 5 plus n minus 6. Let's write down y to the power of 5 plus n minus 6. And that's supposed to equal y to the 13. Now what this means is that this power has to equal to 13. So 5 plus n minus 6 is 13. So let's simplify that. 5 take away 6 is minus 1. So you've got n minus 1 equals 13. Add 1 across, n is 14. Nice. Next, solve the inequality. 7t minus 8 less than 2t plus 7. Well, treat this like an equal sign, yeah? Just ignore the inequality. And move all the t terms on the left-hand side, the number terms on the right. So let's subtract 2t. So 7t take away 2t is 5t. Minus it. To move minus 8 across, you flip the signs to be plus 8. 7 plus 8 is 15. And then to get t on its own, divide 5 across. So t is less than 15 over 5, which is 3. That's it. T is less than 3. Okay. Now, we got to represent that on a number line, yeah? So all you got to do is pretty much start at 3. And because it's less than, you just do a circle. If it was less than equal, then you're going to shade that circle, yeah? And then you just draw a line all the way across, going that way. That's it. That's all you have to do. That means t is less than 3. You know, just to be safe, just go past minus 5, yeah? That's it. Now, 6. Write down the value of y to the nothing. Anything to the power 0 is 1. We just have to remember that, yeah? Wow. Okay, here comes a big one. Work out 9.6 times 10 to the 141. Ooh, let me tell you guys. Some of your calculators might be able to put this in, but most of you won't be able to put this in. So unfortunately, we're going to have to do this step by step, yeah? So let's try and break it down together, guys. So what I'll do, first things first, when you can actually add these together only if the 10 powers were the same. Because they're different numbers, you've got 140 here and 141, we can't add them yet. So the trick is to convert one of them into the same power. I'm going to convert this first one, yeah? Here's a trick. So the trick is, if you want to reduce this one to power 140, you can make this one small, but then you have to make this one bigger. So the trick is, to make them the same, make this one a bit bigger, and you can make that one smaller. So we have to say this, 9.6 times 10 to the 141. To make it literally the same thing, we're going to increase this one and decrease that one, yeah? So big, small. By big, I mean just times it by 10, so it'll be 96. And then take 110 from that, so it'll be 140. Now we can add up this with that one. So we could do 96 times 10 to the 140 plus 6.4. So add them up. Okay, so 96 plus 6.4, just put that in the calculator, and you should get 102.4 times, and remember this is like your x's, so you just copy them, they're like terms, 10 to the power 140. Now we're going to use that, I'm going to divide it to the bottom number, yeah? So we're going to have 102.4 times 10 to the 140 all over 3.2 times 10 to the 16. This can be done in your calculator, at least the left side you can. So in your calculator, just write 102.4 over 3.2. If you do that, and I'm doing it now, you get 32. And then 10 to the 140 over 10 to the 16. Just like the power rules, because you're dividing, you subtract the powers. So 140 take away 16 is 124. This is not the final answer though, because remember, you need to write in standard form. And standard form tells us that the number, the very first term, has to be between 1 and 10. Well, 1 and 9.9999, ideally. So we need to change 32 into 3.2. And to do that, you have to make this small Therefore, this is bigger. So add a decimal place, it'll be 3.2. Made that one bigger, so add one more power, so 10 to the 125. And that's your answer, guys, yeah? Be very careful in exams not to write like that, because that is, it looks perfect, but it just ain't, unfortunately. Now, number 7, yeah? So there are 5 cocoa pods in a bag. The mean weight of the 5 cocoa pods is 398 grams. Let's note this down. If the average weight of 5 cocoa pods is that much, that means the total weight would be 398 times 5. So total weight, so 398 times 5. That'll give us something. 398 times 5. It'll give us 1,990 pods. Now, a 6 cocoa pod has been put into the bag. So this is for 5, yeah? The mean weight of the 6 cocoa pod is 401. Same thing applies. You can do 401 times 6 to get the total of 6 of them. If you do that, you get 2,406 pods, meaning the difference between the 5th and the 6th can be calculated. Now work out the weight of the 6th cocoa pod. Well, we know the total for 6 here and the total for 5. Just find the difference of these two numbers. And if you do that, 2,406 minus 1,990, you should be left with 416. And that's what they want. 3 marks for that. Yeah, not bad. Okay, another question. So A, B, and C are points on circle center O. Okay, geometry time. So AOC is the diameter of the circle. Nice. AB is 8 centimeters, and you got BC is 15. So they're stuck in a nice right angle triangle. It looks like they're using the diameter of the hypotenuse as well, the diameter, isn't it? Work out the total area of the region shown in the shaded diagram. So before we look at that, find the total area. Let's go ahead and try and calculate this radius, yeah, or this diameter, I mean. So this is Pythagoras. This is a right angle triangle. We can use Pythagoras' theorem. And just remember, Pythagoras' theorem is just literally a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we can say 15 squared plus 8 squared must equal the diameter squared, d squared. Now work this out. So put this in your calculator, guys. 15 squared and 8 squared. And remember to square root your answer, yeah? So you're going to get the square root. So d is going to be the square root of 289 in your calculator, which is just 17. That means the diameter is 17. Now, the question is to work out the total area of the blue part, yeah? Now, if you look at the shape, we've got a circle and we've got a right angle triangle. So if you think about it, you can find the area of the whole circle and then subtract the area of this right angle triangle. So area of circle, take away this right angle triangle, and you're left with the shaded part, the blue bit, yeah? So let's test this out. So to find the area of a triangle, we've got a height of 15 and a base of 8. It's just half times base times height. So just times these two numbers and divide it by 2. So we can say that this would be 15 times 8 divided by 2. That's the area of this triangle. Now the area of a circle is pi r squared. We know the radius is, because the diameter is 17, the radius is half. Remember, the radius is just that length here, yeah? From here to there. So it's half of the diameter, so d over 2. So you half your d, so 17 over 2 is just, well, you can just leave 17 over 2. That's just 8.5. So now we're going to plug into this area of the circle formula, yeah? So we can say that the area of the circle is just pi times 8.5 squared. So put in your calculator, pi times 8.5 squared minus 15 times a over 2. You could do this all at once, yeah? And if you did it all at once, actually let's just do it together. Pi times 8.5 squared minus 15 times a over 2. And I got, what did I get? I got 166.98 ... The question is, and they want the result to 3 significant figures. So, let me see. Did I type it right? Pi r squared minus 15 times a over 2. Yep. So you round up, you should get 167. Perfect. Yeah. So I was just thinking, guys. I was just checking if it's like, does this look legit? Yep. So the answer should be 167 centimeters squared. Nice. It wasn't too bad. Okay, 9. Okay, here we go. LCMs and HCFs. So find the lowest common multiple of A and B. Now here's a nice trick, yeah? And I'll do this for both. If you call your LCM and HCF, always look at the first letter, yeah? L means lowest, H means highest. Flip it in your mind, yeah? So in this case, when you think of the lowest and the highest for this kind of question, the lowest is actually the maximum power of A and B, whereas the highest common factor is the minimum power of A and B. So what that tells us, so because we want HCF, LCM, we're going to take the maximum power of A and B. So look at A. You got 2 to the power 3, 2 to the power 4. The maximum power is obviously 4, so 2 to the power 4. For the next one, 3 to the power 2 is the maximum of the two. For the 5 is 5 to the power 4. And because you got only 11, 13, well, you copy them both. It's just 11 and 13. That's it. That's literally all we do. If you have to do the HCF, just for the sake of argument, it'll be the minimum power, so it'll be 2 to the power 3. It'll just be 3 for the next one. It'll just be 5 to the 2. And because this one doesn't have an 11, doesn't have a 13, you just say 11 to the 0 and 13 to the 0, just to make it clear. Because that's the smaller one, yeah? And yeah, that's it. That's how you literally do it. Alright, number 10. So what do we have here? So it says that people working for a company work in team A or team B. Nice. The number of people in A to the number of people in B is 3 to 4. So let's put it as a fraction, yeah? So that means in total we know there's 7, yeah? 3 plus 4 is 7 parts. So if we put it as a fraction, we can say that 3/7 are in A, whereas 4/7 are in B. This is very important, guys. If you note this down, it'll make the rest of them easy. Now we know that 4/5 of team A work full-time, and 24% of team B work full-time. Work out the fraction of people working in the company full-time. Okay, so clear and specific, no part-time. I like that. That means 4/5 of 3/7 are in A. I should this order. I should write 4/5 of 3/7 in A are full-time. So FT is full-time. And last one, 24%. So I'll write 0.24 of 4/7 in B full-time. So we just work them both out, yeah, and then you add them up. So in your calculator, you just write 4/5 times. Off means times, yeah. So 4/5, let's write it down, times 3/7. I got 12/35 for that one. See if you guys get the same. Remember, I might make a mistake, guys. So if you can correct me in any part of the paper, I'd like that. Just like you do in my other videos. But yeah, 24% of 4/7. I got 24 over 175. Then you just add them up because they want full-time. So total and full-time means A and B, of course. Adding up both fractions. So let me just make sure it's all right. Times 3/7. I got 12/25. Again, it says give you a fraction in the simplest form, but we're using a calculator. It's not like they're going to give us a larger number. So that's it. All good. 12/25 is your answer. Oh my god, I can't even read my own handwriting. Alright guys, you're doing well so far, keep going in it. Now, number 11. Simplify fully this entire fraction to the power of -2. Let's ignore the -2, yeah? Let's simplify the inside first. So, what do we have? So, we have 9/18. So what I'll do, I'll just do a fraction like that, yeah? So you got 9/18, so it'd be, well, that simplifies to 1/2. And you got t to the power 4 over t to the power 6. What you could do here, and I personally like to do this way, just do top take away bottom. So 4 take away 6 is -2, so it'd be t to the -2. And then for the w, 9 take away 10 is -1. So just to make it look a bit nicer, you can ignore the 1. So it'd be t to the -2, w to the -1 over 2. And let's just put this back to the power of -2, so it's just consistent. Now, anything to the power of -2, you just literally times it by power -2. So t to the -2 times -2. -2 times -2 is t to the 4, plus 4. -1 times -2 is plus 2. And now, this is very careful. Now you're going to write 2 to the -2. Let's put that in a calculator. What does that mean? 2 to the -2 is a quarter. So you're going to have basically a quarter underneath. But that doesn't look nice. When you have a fraction underneath, you just bring the bottom number to the top. So it's going to look like this. It'll just be 4t to the power 4, w to the power 2, over 1. But we don't need to write over 1. Yeah, and that's it. That should be our final answer there. So let's move on to the next one. Surprisingly, the questions have not been too hard compared to other years, you know. It's quite good. Now, number 12. 15 people were asked how long in minutes they had been waiting for a bus. Now, here are the results. Okay, so you got blah, 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 so many people waiting. Find interquartile range for these times. Interquartile range means the difference between the upper quartile and the lower quartile, yeah? So just got to find those two. But it helps if you find the median first, the middle number. So what you got to do is just carefully find where the middle number is located. I mean, you could do it visually, but it's better to count. You got 15 people, so let's count in order. So you got 1. So half of 15 is 7.5. So it's between the 7th and the 8th. We could probably say the 8th person, actually. Actually, the trick is you actually add 1. So 15 plus 1 is 16, and then you divide it by 2, which is 8. So we're looking at the 8th person. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just be careful, just count 7 on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, checks out. So this is the median. So the lower quartile will be the middle of that median. So this looks like the lower quartile to me, because it's bang in the middle of those set. And the upper quartile should be here. It's also in the middle of that set. And then to find the difference, it'll just be 13 take away 4. That should give us 9. Nice, easy. Right, number 13 now. Okay, let's try and figure this one out. So we've got points on a circle. Okay, cool, interesting. So QOS is the diameter of the circle. Now they're giving us some angles, 124, M and N, helpful. Find the value of M and N. Let's try this out. Now, first thing you want to recognize, guys, yeah, when you got a shape like this, you see what 124 and M is. There's a special term for that. Like, first, what I like to do is just sketch this a little bit. So you got this kind of spaceship shape, and we say that the angle in the center is always twice the angle at the circumference. So what that means is that wherever this value is, M must be half of it, right? So M is going to be 124 divided by 2. And that should give us 62, I believe. Yep, 62 degrees. Now, find the value N. Another thing is, you got something known as you got a cyclic quadrilateral. You have a 4-sided shape, so P to R, R to S, S to T, and T back to P. So this is a 4-sided shape. When you have corners, the corners are 4-sided shapes, so these two must add up to 180. So we say that N plus M equals 180. We know what M is 62, so N plus 62 is 180. So just take away 180 from 62, you should get 118. Okay, so this is just know what the word was. It was cyclic quadrilateral. You can try and Google this one, yeah. Cyclic quadrilateral. It's a 4-sided shape within a circle. Now, next one. Find the size of angle QPO. Where's QPO? QPO. Okay, alright, let's just clean this up a bit. So QPO, they're talking about, this triangle here. QPO. Okay, let's call that X, yeah? So they want this triangle. Okay, so let's see what we do know. Okay, there's another property here. You see this kind of shape now? We've got a triangle shape here. So we've got a shape like this, and also a shape like that. The general for this kind of shape is that these two, when they're bouncing at the circumference, both M and this angle are the same. So this is also M. That's another trick we can learn. So what we have here now is a triangle, right? But something else is missing. We still can't work out X. But that's where the straight line comes in. We've got 124 degrees. And we know if we could work out this angle here, this angle is part of a straight line here. And they make 180 degrees. So if this is 124, we can work out this angle here. So we can say that 180, let's work it out, 180 take away 124 is 56. So this angle here is actually 56. So let me just redraw it here. You've got Q, P, O. So this is going to be 56. We know this one is M, which we already know, which is 62. And now we can work out X. So therefore, all three of these must add up to 180. So you got 56 plus the M, which is 62, plus X gives us 180, guys. Just add this, just work out X now. So 56 adds 62 is 118. Oh, conveniently, of course it's 118. 118 plus x equals 180. Now subtract that from 180, and obviously we've seen that before, you're going to get 62. So x is also 62. So angle of QPO is 62. Nice. Not too terrible, but just a couple of properties you need to know in advance, guys. Yeah. So cyclic quadrilateral, and these two pointy effects. Yeah, there is a name for it, but I'm fasting. It's Ramadan. It's not easy to remember everything. This is 2023 Ramadan. Now, number 14. So solve 9a minus 7 over 5, take away 3a minus 7 over 4, give you that decimal. Okay, let's do it. First thing we're going to do, guys, is always clear the fraction. Yeah, this is literally an important concept I use in many videos. To do that, you got 5 and 4. It means you want to times it by whatever's at the bottom. So we're going to times across by 5 and times across by 4. Let's do it. If you times across by 5 and 4, these two cancel out, but then you stick a 4 there. This cancels out and you stick a 5 there. And this gets a 4 and a 5 because there's nothing else on it. So let's go ahead and rewrite that nicely. Yeah? So you got 4 times 9a minus 7, take away 5 times 3a minus 7 equals 4.55 times 4 times 5. That should give us in a calculator 91. Now expand and simplify. So 4 times 9a is 36a, guys, minus 4 times 7, 28. Minus 5 times 3a is minus 15a. Minus 5 times minus 7 is plus 35. Equals 91. So here we're just collecting like terms. So far I think it looks good. 36a take away 15a. I think that gives us, mentally, what does it give us? 21a. And then minus 28 plus 35, it should be plus 7, equals 91. And then subtract 7 across. So 91 take away 7. Use a calculator, guys. Yeah, I'm kind of using half calculator, half brain. And then divide by 21, you should get the answer, which is 4. A should be 4. See if you guys get 4 as well, and let me know if that's what you got too. Oh, I could check the mark scheme as well. That works too. Now, B. Make C the subject of the formula. When you got a square root, clear the square roots. So that means you've got to square both sides. Yes, always make sure you square. Yeah, it's very helpful. Therefore, you should have p squared equals, and then the rest, ac plus 8 over 3 plus c. Now, all you want to do is clear the fraction. So times 3 plus c across. So p squared times 3 plus c, times by it, you're going to get 3p squared plus cp squared. It's going to equal ac plus a. Now this is where this is where the tricky part happens, and this is where most people stumble. I stumble as well, to be honest. Now you want to make c the subject, so immediately all the c terms need to be on one side, and the non-c terms should be on the other side. So I'm going to move ac across, and I'm going to minus 3p squared to the right. So you should have cp squared minus ac, and you got 8 already, minus 3p squared. So you can see that we just move things around. Now here's the very important step. This is the iconic step what we need to get right. When you got terms like this, always factorize, guys. Think factorization. Don't let it go. So factorize c out. Oops. You're going to get c bracket p squared minus a equals the right side. And finally, guys, you've isolated the c. Now c is actually happy. It's on its own. Now you can divide p squared minus a across it. So you're going to have c equals 8 minus 3p squared over that bracket, p squared minus a. And that's it. That should be this question done. Wow. No breaks. This is actually ongoing recording, no breaks. 15. So a postman records the weight of each parcel that he delivers. The histogram shows information about the weights of all the parcels that the postman delivered last Monday. Okay, so this is just the last Monday question. No parcels weighed more than 6 kg. That's good to know. So it means the cap's at 6. There's no hidden 7 or 8 or 9. That's good. So they have nothing in frequency density. So this, when they have nothing here, we're gonna probably have to write some values here to solve this. Now it says 63 of the parcels that the postman delivered last Monday each had a weight between 0.5 to 2 kg. Very important information. So let's look at the weight. Let's look at the bar. So here's 0.5. And here's 2. So they're talking about this second bar. So just label it 63. This entire bar equals 63. Now, when you have this information, this tells you the area of the bar 63. So this is a rectangle. We know that the width here is between 0.5 and 2. That width is 1.5. That means 1.5 times the height must give you 63. So we can say that, okay, to work out the height, 63 divided by 1.5 should give us the height, right? It does. It gives you a value of 42. So this means that this height here is 42. But then now, just to look at it carefully, if you drop by 2, this must be 40. So the bold line is 40. It must be going down in tens. There's 10 blocks, so that's 30. And it's helpful you guys do this, yeah? Always label it 20, 10. Reason why? Because now you got the value. You can literally work out, oops, let me just keep 40. You can now work out the area of each block. So what's the question one? Work out the total number of parcels, so in other words, each block the postman delivered last Monday. That's it. Now we work out the area of each block. So let's do it step by step, yeah? So the first one is from 0 to 0.5, so that is 0.5 here. So 0.5 times a height of 18. So this would be 0.5 times 18. Put down your calculator. 0.5 times 18. You should get 9. So the first block is 9. The second one's easy. It's just a difference of 1. 1 times the height of, I think that's 24, isn't it? Yep, so that's 1 times 24 is 24. Again, difference of 1. 1 times 30 is 30. They made it nice and easy as paper. And the difference here is 2. 4 to 6 is 2. 2 times the height of 8. 2 times 8 is 16. And that's it, guys. We have all the values we need. Now, all you want to do is add up every single one, yeah? So 9 plus 63 plus 24 plus 30 plus 16. And I got 142. So let's see if you guys got the same, yeah? 142. Alright, pretty good. Now, the postman picks at random 2 of the records. Okay, 2 of the records, interesting. Of the parcel delivered. Usually, most questions, they only pick at random 1 item. Okay, this is interesting. Work out an estimate for the probability that each parcel weighed more than 2.25 kg. Very decimalized number. 2.25 kg. So we're talking about between 2 and 3. 2.25 is here. So it's kind of like it's 1/4 in. It's 0.25 in. So you're looking at, if you have to split this up, if it's 2.25 in, go find difference. So you just want all the parcels from this side, basically. All the area from this side. So you want this block, which is 2.25 in. So let's have a look. If it's 2.25 in, so 3 take away 2.25. So you basically want 0.75 of this block, not 0.25, yeah? So now the new area that they want is 0.75 times your height, which was 24. So it'll be, if we just kind of just sketch it here, but it's going to be 0.75 across and 24 up. The new area of that block is what? Is 18. Of course, the rest will be the same because they said more than 2.25. So the 30 is still there, and the 16 is still there too. So you got 30 and 16. So what we have here, guys, this is actually how many parcels they're talking about. So let's add up these parcels. 18 plus 30 plus 16. I did that and you get 64. So they're talking about 64 parcels out of the 142. So let's go back to the question, yeah? So he picks at random 2 of the parcels, right? Work an estimate that each parcel weighed more than 2.25. So for the first parcel, it was 64 out of 142 times, because that's parcel 1 now. Now how about parcel 2? Because he's delivered 1 parcel already, that means there must only be 63 left that's bigger than 2.25. And of course, 141 parcels left. So this is the probability they want, guys, yeah? 64 over that and that. And then you put that in your calculator, you should get, as a fractional decimal, your choice, you should get 672 over 3337. Something like that, yeah? See what your calculator gives you. But this is it working out. The answer depends on wherever that was. Yeah, it's such a different question, guys. Usually it's like a 1 parcel question, but I guess they're stepping it up now. Okay, alright. Have to hurry because in our time it's almost Maghrib, guys, and you know what, Iftar's just around the corner. I'll try and finish this paper. If not, then well, you won't know the difference. You used to be watching. So number 16. Some students will ask the following question: Which of the subjects, Russian, French, and German, do you study? Of these students, 4 study all 3 of Russian, French, and German, 10 study Russian and French, 13 study French and German, blah blah blah. Now, let's go straight to the main question. Let X be the number of students who study French only. Okay, interesting, so just French. Show all this information in a Venn diagram and given a number of students in each appropriate subset in terms X where necessary. Cool. Alright, this one is such a different Venn diagram as well. They have changed it all. So let's have a look. This is how I would approach it, guys, yeah? First you look at the center because you want to start at the center and then work your way towards the outside. Now, let's do it. 4 study all 3 languages. That means 4 is bang in the center. No doubt about that. 10 study Russian and French. That means these 2 cells must add up to 10. 4 plus something must add up to 10. So 4 plus 6 should add up to 10. 13 study French and German. So French and German. So we're talking about these 2. So 4 plus something must equal 13. 4 plus 9. 6 study Russian and German. So 4 plus something must give you 6. Well, 4 plus 2. French and German. Okay, so far so good. 24 study German. Right, so they're talking about the whole circle must make 24. So 2 plus 4 plus 9 plus is unknown. So let's add up, yeah? So 2, 4, and 9. That should give us, I think, 15. So 15, and then we know we have to make 24. So 24 take away 15 should give us 9, I think. Yep, 9 sounds good. 11 study none of these 3 subjects. Easy. That just goes right outside the box, right outside the circles, but within the box, yeah. And this is an interesting one. The number who study Russian only, so Russian only, is twice the number who study French only. So we see French, there's an X number, so X number of people study French. That means it's double that. Russian should be 2x. Cool. I like that, you know, it looks quite nice. That's it, and that's the end of the question. And on the end of part A. Now, given that the number of students who were asked, the question was 80, so in other words, the total of all of these must sum up to 80, work out the number of these students that study Russian. Right. So let's do it right now. So in other words, you just have to sum up, make it equal 80, and then we can work out 2x later. So let's do this. So 2x plus x will give us 3x. And adding up all these numbers, 6 plus 4, that's 10. Plus 2 is 12. Okay, these 2 make 18. 18 and 12 is 30. Plus 11 is 41. It has to equal 80. And now rearranging it, subtract 41, you get 3x equals 39. Nice, hold on, but x would be 13 if you divide it by 3. So if x is 13, that means over here would be 13. That means 2x would be 2 times 13. Whatever you do, guys, please do not update these terms. You might lose your marks. I actually don't know. So 2 times x would be 2 times 13 would be 26. That's the number of people who study Russian. Oh no, wait. That's a mistake. That does not make sense what I'm saying. My bad, guys. Work out number of students who study Russian. It's not Russian only. It's all of Russian. So it'd be that value. Yep. So Russian will be 2x plus 6 plus 4, which is 10, plus the 2, which is 12. That's what we want. We know what 2x is. It's 2 times 13, which is 26, plus 12. Therefore, your final answer, oof, that was close, guys, I almost messed up, equals 38. Now, let's have a look. So it says here that the diagram shows a solid prism, which is A, B, C, D, F, G, H. So you got like some sort of trapezium shape here, and just extend it across to make it a 3D shape. The trapezium, ABCD, in which AD is parallel to BC, is a cross-section of the prism. Okay? The base ADEH of the prism is a horizontal plane. Now, we can see that ABEH and BCFG, so we're talking about the left and right panels, they're both rectangles, yeah? So it kind of helps to label this a bit. So just make sure to always be clear this is a rectangle. And so rectangle here, rectangle there, and 2 trapeziums in the front and back. And then you got some sort of rectangular base as well. Now the midpoint of BC is vertically above the midpoint of AD. So let's have a look. Midpoint of BC, vertically above the midpoint of AD. So that BA equals CD. So BA equals, so the length of this is equal to that length there. Now, they gave us some values, and they tell us that the perpendicular distance between edges AD and BC is 20. So we're talking about the general height, right, from top to bottom. And this is going to be useful because you will need it to work out the slanted height later. Now they want us to work out the total surface area of the prism. Whew. Okay, let's try this out. So we'll go work out the area of each face. Now let's have a look. So to work out area of each face, what we need a few different values, yeah? Let's see. So for the trapezium, I guess we got almost everything we need, don't we? How about we work out the diagonal lengths here? We need to try and work out this diagonal length because we can't work out the area of this rectangle here. So the surface area means you work out the area of each face. We don't have the actual slanted length. So what I'm going to do, guys, they mentioned here that, this is vertically above. A nice trick is to just draw a straight line down here so you kind of see some sort of rectangle. Now we know that from here to here, this is 37. No, this is 28. But we know that the whole length here, from here, that part, and this one's 37. That means if you subtract 37 from 28, you're going to get a difference which is the sum of these two, yeah? So let's do some quick maths, yeah? So 37 taken to 28 is 9. That means half of 9 must be 4.5. So each of these small lengths are 4.5. And I say that covers that part, and I can just kind of say that this red line is 28. Now what we're trying to do, guys, we're trying to find the length of that slanted line. So let's just take this right angle triangle, yeah? So here we got a height of 20. We know we got a length of 4.5, and then we can use Pythagoras' theorem to work out this slanted length. Let's call it L. So Pythagoras' theorem tells us that we've got that the formula has to be 20 squared plus 4.5 squared, and it must equal that diagonal length squared. Okay. So if you do that in a calculator, let's do it right now, and then we square root the answer, you should get a length of L being 20.5. Okay. So remember, just put this all in your calculator and then square root it. And that's good. So now we know actually that this length, all the diagonal lengths, like CD and FE are 20.5. So I can just write here to make it nicer and neat. So that length is done. And now I think we have everything we need, right? Do we have the length here? Yes, we do. So now we just take apart each square and work it out. So let's count from the top here. So the first square at the top, 28 by 24. So let's put the length 24 here so we can see it. So from GFBC, we got 28 by 24. What else do we have? We've got these two similar rectangles. There's another one here. That's 24 at the bottom and 20.5 at the top. We've got times 2 of these, yeah? This one's only one of them. Let's have a look. There's also the rectangle base on the ground. That's 37 across. 24 up. There's only one of them. So it should be 6 faces altogether, yeah? And what else do we have? So you also got the trapeziums as well. Okay, so front and back. Trapeziums. Now remember the area of a trapezium is just literally, let's write down, the area of a trapezium is A plus B over 2 times your vertical height. So what that means, your two parallel lengths. We know it's 28 at the top, 37 at the bottom, and the height is 20. Yeah, so that covers everything. Now we just plug in the formulas of everything. So let's work out each one. So this part shouldn't be too bad. So let's have a look what we get. So let's do it step by step so we will get the same numbers. So let's just change the color. Now I'm going to do first one, 28 times 4. 28 times 24 times 1 should be 672. Next one, 24 times 20.5. And I'm going to times it by 2 here because there's 2 of them. 984. 24 times 37 should give us 888. And lastly, applying this formula carefully, so I'm going to do it here. The area is going to be 28 plus 37 over 2 times 20. So put that as a fraction, yeah? Again, times that by 2 as well. And you should get 1,300 actually. And yeah, I think that covers it all. Now you can add up all these numbers, yeah? So add up all our results. So your final total area. See if you guys got this result, 3,844 centimeters squared. Calculate the size of the angle between AF and the plane AD ADEH. Okay, cool. Give your answer correct to one decimal place. So AF and the plane. So the plane ADEH is one at the bottom. So when you ask a question like this, the first thing you want to do is draw a line from A to F, like they say. So from A all the way to F. Draw like a nice straight line of a ruler if you got one, yeah? And now, to find the plane is the bottom, you would have to draw from F a vertically straight down line, yeah? So make sure it's completely straight down. And it hits the plane. So you're going to hit this point here. So that's quite different to other questions. And now you just connect it together from that point to here. And this is the angle they want. Okay, just remember, because it's dropping down, this is actually a right angle triangle, even though it doesn't look like one. And also the distance, yeah? So this is 4.5 over here, so we're just going to label this one as 4.5 centimeters. Now, what do we need? So we just need to work out two lengths, and we're done. So let's try this out. So what we can do, actually we already probably have the length anyway, I think. This is a vertically down height, so we know this height is actually 20, isn't it? So this is from FD because it matches this perpendicular height, so we can label this one as 20 centimeters. Now the only thing we actually have to calculate is this new diagonal length. Now you've got to be very careful, yeah? Let's just do it 3D. Let's do another 2D triangle like this. The quarters one, a right angle one. So it kind of matches it. So you can kind of see that it's gone down by 4.5 to that here. So we actually have a length across which is 37 take away 4.5. So let's work out. So we've got 24 here, which we know. And this new length here will be 37 take away 4.5. And that gives us 32.5. And that's it. So now we're going to work out the hypotenuse here. Because if we work out this length using Pythagoras, we're done. So we can say for the triangle at the bottom, so let's just redraw it here to make it neat. You got 24, and you got 32.5. And we're going to work out that new length here. Let's call it D. So we can say that D squared equals 24 squared plus 32.5 squared. So guys, just have to take your time with these triangles. Yeah, this one's a bit different to your usual cube ones because you've got new lines and that. Now, let's put that in a calculator. Square root it. You should get an answer of about D equals 40.4, give or take, yeah? That should be the estimated answer. If you don't got that, then I think it's good. Now we're basically done. So now we've got the main right angle triangle that we wanted. Let's just copy this down to the next page, yeah? So we've got 20 here, 40.4 here, and we're trying to work out theta. Okay, we're trying to work out the angle. And yeah, if you work this out, you're pretty much done. Now, to do this, you got to use SOHCAHTOA. You might already know how to do it, actually, guys. So if you do it, you can just jump straight in. And all you need is basically identify which ones are opposite and so on. So anything opposite the angle is called the O, the op. And this one is the A, the adjacent. So we have O and A, so it has to be TOA. That's what we have. So we've got tan, T stands for tan. Tan theta equals opposite first, which is 20, over adjacent, which is 40.4. And that's it, we've pretty much done it. Now all you do is go to your calculator, press the tan inverse, or shift tan or arctan. So you have theta equals tan inverse of that whole fraction. Put that in a calculator, and you should get an angle of approximately, roughly, let's say 26.3 degrees. And that's it, guys. This question is pretty much done. So a rectangle ABCD is to be drawn in a centimeter grid such that A, B, C, D have these coordinates. Okay, work out the value of A, B, and C. So they're talking about these little ABCs. Now, for this kind of problem, what I'd like to do is just draw a nice rectangle, yeah? So let's do it. So rectangle like this. And just do an order. So start from here. A, B, C, D. Right, so for this kind of question, the most important thing to look at is the gradient, yeah? So let's find the gradient of line A to B, and we'll just keep moving from there. And why are we doing this? We're doing this because we can use it to work out the next gradient of B to C. So let's do one at a time. So from gradient A to B, to work out, is this the change in the y coordinates over the change in the x? In other words, if you look at the difference between these two, so be it, for example, top take away bottom. If you write difference in y, it would be minus 2 take away the 10, and the difference in x would be the minus 4 take away the 1. And that should give you a nice 12 over 5. So that's the gradient of A to B. So we can say gradient here is 12 over 5. Now the cool thing about rectangles is that we know everything is perpendicular around, right? And one thing about perpendicular lines is that you can work out the gradient using some perpendicular trick. All you have to say is that, okay, if it's perpendicular, that means you just have to flip the fraction upside down, take the reciprocal, and then just put a negative sign. So that's the gradient of b to c, minus 5 over 12. And that's it. That part is done. Now, all we want to do now, guys, like we're trying to basically find this coordinate a, right? The whole point of finding the gradient here is that we need to go back to the classic straight line equation, which is y equals mx plus c. Actually, I'm not going to use the letter c. You know why? Because there's already a c there. Let's call it mx plus k. K is a y-intercept now. Okay? So let's go ahead and use the line b to c, because that's the whole purpose of it. So we can work out this little a here. So using coordinate c, so at c, we have an equation which is y equals the gradient of 5 over 12 x plus k. And now we need to work out k first before anything else. So we can say that, okay, at point C, well, what's at point C? You know, you've got two lines connected. You've got BC and DC. I'm going to use BC because B actually has values, yeah? So we can say using the line B to C, so line B to C, we're going to use the coordinate of B. So we can say now at B, so we can plug in the B coordinates. So we're going to have, what do we have? We have x is 1 and y is 10. So substitute that in, you can have 10 equals minus 5 over 12 times 1 plus k. And you can just solve for k easily, guys. You just rearrange yourself for k. So we can make k the subject. So just basically add. So in your calculator, it would just be 10 plus 5 over 12 times 1. So k equals 10 plus 5 over 12 times 1. And if you work that out, you should get an answer of, what did I get? I got 125 over 12. So that's our k value. So therefore, just update it nicely. So you can say that the updated equation is now going to be y equals minus 5 over 12x plus 125 over 12. So this is our equation for line BC, yeah? So this is line BC. Now, this helps a lot. What's the point of this one now? Now you got line BC, you can substitute the coordinates of C and then get the value of A automatically. So let's plug in, replace X with 19 and Y with A. So therefore, we can say at C, what's coordinates again? So A equals minus 5 over 12 times 19 plus 125 over 12. And therefore we can work out A. And let's enter this in the calculator, guys. And then when you do that, let's do it quick. Enter in the calculator and you should get 2.5. Yeah, that's it. A is 2.5. So we've already knocked out one of them. Here A is now 2.5. So that's one done. And guess what, guys? We don't need to use any of these fancy equations to work out coordinates D. You know why? Because we're going to use some sort of vector trick now. You could use more. We can make more equations, I'm not going to lie. But it'll take a lot of time. I'll show you a fast way now. So let's have a look. The trick is now is to find the distance, like how far each line, how far we're traveling across. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to delete this gradient things. I mean, you can keep it there if you want, but for the purpose of the instruction, I'll do it here. So let's ask ourselves, when we travel from A to B, how far are we traveling, like from the X and Y? Well, if you start at -1 and you go to 1, you're traveling 5 across. So I'm going to make it as a vector, 5 across. If you travel from -2 to 10, you're traveling 12 across. Okay, and therefore it's going to be same at the bottom. It'll be 5 across and 12 across. Why? Because they're literally in the same direction. Yeah, that's very important in vectors, moving in the same direction. Now, likewise, if you go from B to C, this is very helpful too. Let's go from B to C. If you're going from 1 to 19, you're traveling 18 up. But if you're traveling from 10 to 2.5, you're dropping by 7.5, so it's -7.5. Yeah, that's how far you're traveling. And again, it's the same over here. Now, why is this important? Because now we can look at coordinates A to D. So if we're going from A to D, let's do it from here. You're starting at -4, but you're going 18 up. So -4 plus 18 will give us 14. So the first coordinate of D is 14. Likewise, you start at -2, and now you're traveling -7.5 even more down. So you're going even more down. So you're going from -2, -7.5, so that's -9.5. And that's it, guys. This literally covers the start of the question. This is a fast way to do it. So all your values are found. A, which is 2.5, B, which is 14, and C, which is minus 9.5. Now lastly, calculate the perimeter in centimeters of rectangle ABCD. So we're going to call this D, yeah? So distance of AB, we literally use Pythagoras. So the distance of AB is just the change in x squared plus the change in y squared, yeah? And I'm going to put it squared here, so it looks like a Pythagoras thing. Now, that's all you need. So let's find the distance A to B. So we just plug in. So to find the change in x, it's just the coordinates we did earlier. So the difference between minus 4 and 1 is going to be 5, so 5 squared. Difference between minus 2 and 10 is 12 squared. That's going to be, let's just call it DAB squared. So therefore, put this in a calculator, and then remember to always square your answer, guys, yeah? If you do that, 5 squared plus 12 squared, and you square root it, you should get 13. That means the distance from A to B is 13. So I made a little mistake, so I wrote ABDC. I don't know why it should be ABCD and always in order. Yeah, that looks good. And now let's find the distance between B to C. So distance of B to C is going to be, well, firstly, change in x, it would be 18 squared. And then change in y coordinates, 10 take away 2.5 is 7.5, 7.5 squared. And then therefore, guys, repeat the same process, yeah? So let's do that. So you've got 18 squared plus 7.5 squared. You should get a nice clean answer of 19.5. Yeah, and we're done. So we got our lengths. Now the question is to calculate the perimeter, so the length all the way around. Okay, so we know this is 13, so it's gonna be 13 here as well, and 19.5 here as well. So we just add up all of these 4 digits, yeah. And when you do that, 13 plus 13, so just add up these two and times it by 2. You should get a final distance of, I believe, 65 centimeters. And that's it. That one's done as well. Yeah, so not too bad. Not too bad, actually. 7 marks. Yeah, should be worth more, seriously. Right, number 19. So a particle P is moving along a straight line. Oops, why is that going down? The fixed point O lies on this line. At time t seconds where t is greater than or equal to 0, the displacement s meters of P from O is given by this equation here. So just quick note, displacement is pretty much the distance in vector form, yeah? In differentiation, this is all about differentiation, you've got 3 things to know. Displacement, velocity, and also acceleration, yeah? These 3 components. Displacement is usually s, velocity is v, and acceleration is a. And the way it's worked, when you differentiate, it goes from s to v, and then v to a. That order. So let's keep going now. Now the question is, find the displacement of P from O when P is instantaneously at rest. What it's trying to say is that P is not moving, and we're talking about velocity. We're trying to basically make this equation, set this equation to V and make it equal to 0. Rest means you're not moving, so it equals to 0. Now to go from S to V, we have to differentiate that equation, yeah? So let's rewrite it here. So S equals t cubed plus 5t squared minus 8t plus 10. When you differentiate, so now we're going to call this v, so you can say from here, you're going to differentiate. All you do is drop the power and subtract by 1. So drop the power in front of t, it becomes 3t, and then subtract the power by 1, becomes power 2. For the next one, 5t squared, so drop the power 2 in front, 5 times 2 is 10, and then t to power 2 becomes t to power 1, or just t. Next one, because you're just left with a t, it vanishes, it becomes minus 8. And the next one is just a constant, there's no t, so that becomes 0. So this is the equation they want, the velocity equation. It's a nice quadratic as well. And then the question is to find blah blah when you set it to 0. So now this equation is equal to 0 plus 10t minus 8 equals to 0. So we've got a quadratic here, guys. We just got to factorize this or use a quadratic formula. So using the quadratic formula, it's like this. We can say t equals, remember, minus b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all of that over 2a. And remember, a, b, and c are basically these numbers in front. So a is 3, b is 10, and c is minus 8. Now updating this equation, guys, we're going to have minus b, so minus 10, plus minus square root of 10 squared, which is 100, minus 4 times 3 times c, which is minus 8, all over 2 times 3. Okay, so what you should do in your calculator, remember, when you put this in the calculator, for the plus minus, first write the plus sign, so write minus and plus, and then copy the rest, and you get one answer, and then go back in your calculator and replace it with a minus sign. And if you do that, that's what happens here. So one result, you should get 2/3, or the second result you should get -4. Now remember, you're dealing with time, yeah? Time has to be positive, so the only possible answer is 2/3. So time took 2/3, or 0.6666 seconds in this case. Now, yeah, so that's the t value they wanted. The question was, find the displacement of p from O. So now we've got the t value. We can go back to this S equation. We know that at this point, 2/3, so we know that at time 2/3, that's exactly when the particle was at rest, or wherever it was. So plug in t equals 2/3 into your S equation, and that's it, you got it. So I'm going to do it up here. So S equals, so remember, just place t 2/3, so it'll look like this, 2/3 cubed plus 5 times 2/3. It's important you write this in your calculator, minus 8 times 2/3 plus 10. A nice trick, guys, because you got 2/3 in your answer key, just instead of writing this fraction, you can just write answer cubed plus 5 times answer squared, and so on. And it'll give you a direct answer. But make sure you do it all at once, yeah? Otherwise, you might get a wrong answer. But if you're not comfortable with that, stick with this way. Anyway, when you do that, you should get a displacement of roughly 194/27. And that's exactly what they want. And remember, they want the answer in the form as a fraction, a/b. So that's the answer. Alright, number 20. Wow, okay, you got hexagon and an equilateral triangle. Oof. So the diagram shows a shaded region T formed by removing an equilateral triangle PQR from this regular hexagon. They really upped the level in this paper, you know. Compared to other papers, it was never this level. They definitely upped it up. Now, let's try this one out. The points P and Q lie on AB such that AB is 1.5 times PQ. Okay, so if this was like 1.5, let's say X, if this was X, this would be 1.5X. So what we can do, we can label this short length as X. And I'm going to label this long length as, because they're all the same, as 1.5X. Okay, so that's going to help us figure this out. Okay. Now, given that the area of T is 72√3, work out the length of PQ. So work out the length of X. So we've got to find X then. Okay, there's a nice little trick here. It looks to me that the best way to solve this, guys, is to firstly consider the whole hexagon, and then work at the area of the whole hexagon, and then subtract it from the area of this little triangle, and then we're going to equal it to the area of T. That'll basically be the target. So to do that, let's go ahead and pull out this little triangle for a second, yeah? We know that because it's an equilateral triangle, all of this is 60 degrees, actually. So in fact, this makes it a lot easier. Everything's 60 degrees, which is good. Because that's the whole point of equilateral triangle. All angles are the same, therefore all the lengths are the same as well. Now, same for this. So for 1.5x, we can do something similar too. Let's go ahead and work out firstly at the interior angle of a hexagon, yeah? If you're not sure where it generally is, use this formula. We know that the sum of interior angles is the number size, take away 2, times 180. Now we know a hexagon is a 6-sided shape, so it'll be 6 take away 2, so it'll be 4 times 180. And 4 times 180 is 720 degrees. So that means the sum of all these angles here, all of these 6 angles must be 720. But you just want to find one angle, right? So for find a single angle, let's just divide it by 6, yeah? To get a single angle. And then if you do that, it's 120 degrees. So all of this single angle is 120 degrees. Now here comes a little beautiful aspect of this, yeah? If you put a point in the center right now, and you just stick a line there, and just do another one like that, you're going to realize that you have a bunch of equilateral triangles. Why? Because if I split this in the middle, half of 120 is 60 perfectly, which is nice. So actually, what we can do now, we can just stick in the middle right now. You know that this is definitely 60 degrees. This is not obvious sometimes, but that's why it helps to know the interior angle. Half of 120, if you cut in the middle, will be 60 degrees. So this is all 60 with a length of 1.5x, and that's great. Now, why is that important? You can pretty much work at the area of an equilateral triangle easily, and same for this little one too. So let's do it, yeah. So let's look at this hexagon. So now we've got 6. If you split this up, you realize you've got 6 equilateral triangles in a hexagon, right? That's what it is. So what we're gonna do, we're basically gonna say this. So here's our big little equilateral triangle. We know it's 1.5x, angle is 60 degrees, and well, let's put here 1.5x, 1.5x. I'm gonna write in this form. Now to work on area of a triangle, the formula is like this. It's literally half AB sine C, and I believe you pretty much get this in the front, guys. So just plug into the formula, and then for the little triangle, remember there's 6 of these actually. Let's number them. You have 6 of these in total. We're gonna subtract it from the little triangle. Okay, so the little triangle I'm gonna do upside down. The length is 6 is x, so x is all the way around, and the angle is 60 degrees off, and it's supposed to equal 72 root 3. So that's our equation. Now plugging everything back in, guys, we're going to use the area formula to work at the area of this triangle. We basically essentially have, so the area of the first one would be half. The A and B is going to be the lengths around it, so 1.5x and 1.5x. So basically 1.5x squared, and then sine C, so sine 60, and then you're going to times that by 6, yeah, because there's 6 of them. Minus the area of the small triangle, so it'd be half AB sine C. A and B are x and x, so it'd be x squared, and then sine 60. And it's going to equal 72 root 3. That's it. And now we're going to get the answer so easily. That's it. After this, you're going to solve it, and you got it. So, nice little trick here. With these numbers in your calculator, you're probably thinking, how am I going to write this? Well, the trick is, ignore the x for a second. In your calculator, just write half times 1.5 squared times sine 60 times 6. Let's just do it together here. So 1.5 squared sine 60 times 6. If you do that, you're going to get like a surd. Try and keep the surd, guys. It keeps it neat. So you've got 27 root 3 over 8, and then stick the x squared there. Same thing applies here. Just write half sine 60. Sine 60. And you should get root, let me see, half sine 60. Yep, and you should get root 3 over 4 here. X squared equals 72 root 3. And then lastly, because you got like terms, remember they're both x squared terms, so you can actually subtract it in your calculator, which is nice. Just subtract these two. So we're going to simplify that. So you can write 27 root 3 over 8 minus what you just got, root 3 over 4. And you should get a simplified answer, well, not too different. 25 root 3 over 8 x squared equals 72 root 3. Now, we need the end of this, yeah? So now let's make x squared the subject. Just divide all of this across, so it'll look like this. I usually just throw this underneath that side, yeah? So just draw a line. 72 root 3 is here. And in this thing, just write 25 root 3 over 8. If it helps, just put a little bracket around it, so it doesn't look that confusing. And then put this in your calculator, and don't forget the square root answer, yeah? And when you do that, you're going to get an answer of, actually, let's just do it right now together. So 72 root 3 over answer, square root it, you should get a clean answer of 4.8. That's the answer they want, okay? It's best to never round these surds. If you do it, you will not get a clean answer. You get a decimalized answer. But that's what they want, 4.8. I'm sure they want that, right? But yeah, that should be it. Nice. Cool. Finally, fractions. So something normal that we can actually work with. Let's try this out. So, 21. Write all of these as a single fraction in the simplest form. Show clear algebraic working. Okay, so the first thing we want to know is that when you got questions of fractions, you want to always put them into brackets. So let's do it. The first one is an example of difference of two squares. Why? Because you got a square term minus another square term. So to factorize that, it's easy. I'll show you. So you just square root the first term, so 25x squared, should give you 5x, and put a bracket. And then square root of 64, you get 8. So it'll be 5x, let's write plus 8. And because of the difference two squares, you just copy the bracket and change the sign. So this is automatically a double bracket quadratic equation. So it's always the same thing, plus or minus. Now, for the bottom, let's factorize the bottom equation. So let's do the same trick. So we want to basically, no same trick, something different. So the trick is you want to basically get two numbers that multiply to get 6. So that could be, let's say, 2 and 3, or 1 and 6. So yeah, let's try and multiply one of these digits by 5 and see what works to get minus 13. So for example, so let's say 3, yeah? If I times that by 5, you get 15. So let's make it a minus 15, yeah? So minus 15 plus 2 will give us minus 13. Yep, it checks out. That's exactly it. If you tried on something else, let's say 6, if you times this by, say, 5, you get 30. So you either get 30, add 1 is 31, or take away 29, so it does not work. So this is definitely false. So now, let's put in a bracket. So to write out, let's just draw the bubbles. You got 5x here, 5x there. So you want to times the 5 with minus 3, so minus 3 has to be here, because 5 times minus 3 gives you the answer. I don't know why I wrote 5x there. It should be just x. Because to get 5x squared is just 5x times x. And therefore plus 2 must be here. Alright, nice. So let's just clear this up a little bit. It's taking too much space. Now, next part of the fraction, this is going to be a lot easier. So x squared minus ax plus 15. So let's draw some brackets here. Just put x and x. So two numbers are multiplied make 15. So 3 and 5. And that gives you a difference of 8. So you need minus 3 minus 5. That gives you minus 8. And plus 15 you can multiply. This one, the 5x plus 8, you can't do anything. So just put in a bracket. 5x plus 8. And then this one's a little weird one. So they added some random fraction. X minus 7. Now, before we move on, when you multiply fractions, they become literally one whole fraction. So I can delete this times and just draw a line connecting it. This is just one whole fraction. And the trick is to cancel up and down if you get the same terms. Let's have a look. 5x plus 8 cancels that. 5x plus 8. We've got x minus 3 up and down. And yeah, that's all we have. So let's update what we have now. So on the top line, we've got 5x minus 8. And we've got x minus 5. Over, and we've got 5x plus 2. Minus, and now we've got a separate fraction. So when you've got a separate fraction, to combine them, we need to make sure that this one becomes a fraction and have a common denominator. So the trick is to take this one and times up and down by what this one has, which is 5x plus 2. So I'm going to times it up and down by 5x plus 2 here, and 5x plus 2 here. So it becomes basically one fraction, yeah? So let me make it look a bit nicer. That's it. Now, because you have common denominators, you can combine as one fraction. So it becomes this equation, take away that equation over 5x plus 2. So it looks like so it looks a bit like this. So before we do that, let's write it down. So 5x minus 8, x minus 5, take away bracket x minus 7, 5x plus 2 all over the same common denominator. Okay, now we're almost there. So at this stage, because you've got a minus sign, you should try and expand both these brackets and then collect like terms and tidy up. So let's do it. So we're going to expand the first two brackets. So 5x times x, so we're going to have 5x squared minus, I'm going to do 5x times minus 5, which is minus 25x. Minus 8 take away x is minus 8x, plus minus 8 times minus 5 is plus 40. Take away. Now, this part is a bit trickier. So when you've got a minus sign, what I recommend is you put an open bracket here. And then you expand it carefully, because the minus will flip all the signs. So let's do it. So x times 5x, which is 5x squared. X times 2 is plus 2x. Minus 7 times 5x is minus 35x. And a minus 7 times 2 is minus 14. Nice. And we do all over 5x plus 2. Let's see if we can simplify before we move on. So let's have a look. So if you think about this flips all the sign, right? So this will basically be minus 5x squared minus 2x plus 35x plus 14. Okay, so let's collect like terms. So we've got 5x squared minus 5x squared. Oh cool, they cancel out. So that cancels out actually. What else do we have? Minus 25x minus 8x plus 2x minus 35x. If you put it on your calculator, you'll realize you get 0x. So that all cancels out too. Nice. And what's left? Plus 40 plus 14. That's 54. That's it. So that's the only thing that don't cancel out. So your final answer would be 54 on the top over 5x plus 2. Done. And that's it. That's this question done. Wow. That was not too bad, but it's a lot of simplification. I hope this is all clear, guys. Let me know how you're finding it so far, yeah? Drop me a comment or message, or if you get stuck, and we'll go over it. Right, so next one, yeah? Where are we at now? Turnover 22. Okay, I think this is probably the last question actually. Yeah, I'm sure it's the final question of the paper. Let's try this out. Looks a lot nicer than another one though. So the diagram shows a sector OBC of a circle with center O and radius 6 plus x. Alright? A is in a point OB and D is in a point OC such that OA equals OD equals 6. Okay, so we're trying to say that this is pretty much a sector. So this is 6 and that is x as well. Okay? Now angle BOC is 50 degrees. Given that the perimeter of OBCD, so the perimeter of the whole sector, is 2 times the perimeter of the little triangle, find the value x. Alright, cool. Not too terrible. So first you want to know, because we're working a perimeter, we just pretty much need to work out the length of AD and the length of BC, and the arc of BC. Now because you're working with a sector, we need to pretty much work with circle equations. So if you remember guys, if you remember the circumference of a circle is always 2 pi r, yeah? And circumference means the length around the whole circle, yeah? So all the way around, yeah? That's the circumference. Now because we're dealing with circles, sectors, we just take like a fraction of it. We're taking pretty much only this much. This is the arc we want. And this only represents 50 degrees. So you think about it, we want a fraction of that circumference. So we can say that the length of the arc, let's call it L, will be 2 pi r, will be the circumference times the fraction we want. We want 50 degrees. And remember, a circle is out of 360, right? So it'll be 50 over 360. That's the length of BC. That'll basically give us BC actually. Let's call it L, yeah? So, radius now. We know what the radius is. The radius is actually 6 plus x. So actually, this is actually complete. So the length of the arc is just 2 pi times 6 plus x times 50 over 360. That's it. And if you want to simplify it actually, what I would do, I would just put 50 over 360 times that 2, yeah? Because I'll simplify the fraction. So we're at 2 times 50 over 360. That becomes 5/18. So 5 over 18 pi 6 plus x. That's the length of the arc. And you know what, if you want to expand it, let's expand it too. So 5 over 18 pi times 6. That's just, remember, ignore the pi in the calculator. So it would just be 5 over 3 pi. And then plus. And then 5 over 18 pi times x, just stick them together. 5 over 18 pi x. If you don't like writing pi, you can change it to a decimal if you want, if you prefer. But I think keeping it in pi, because you shouldn't round your answers too early, guys. You should always do it at that final step. So that's a L. So this is the length of the arc. Okay, it's in x terms. So let's just keep it clear. Now let's look at the length. Now we want AD. Okay, so you got a triangle. Let's redraw a triangle. You got 6 here, 6 there, 50 degrees. And they want this length here. Let's call this length here, what they're not using, let's call it y. Now, when you see a shape like that, always use the cosine rule, yeah? And the cosine rule is like this. It's a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. And to identify what a is and b and c, always start with the angle, because that's the most important part, and draw a line opposite it. That means the 50 is the capital A, and then y is the little a. So that means the little a is y squared, and the rest are, well, b and c. So b would be 6 squared, c is also 6 squared, minus 2 times 6 cos 50. Nice. And then now you can put that in your calculator. And let's see what that gives us here. So 6 squared plus 6 squared minus 2 times 6 cos 50. When you put this in a calculator, don't forget the square root answer, because you want to get just y. So put that all in a calculator, you get like 25.7, square root it, and I got 5.07. I'm going to take a couple digits, 1, 4, 1, dot, dot, dot. Because remember, always round at the end. Now we got y, so we actually got everything. Now we just follow what they say. Now we follow the given that statement. So it says, given that the perimeter of sector OAB, so let's firstly write the equation for this one. The perimeter of this shape. So it'll be 6 plus x plus 6 plus x. So that's basically 12 plus 2x plus the L in it. So we're going to have 12 plus 2x plus the L. The L was 5 over 3 pi plus 5 over 18 pi x. and that's supposed to equal 2 times the perimeter of triangle OAD. So OAD is basically that triangle we just did, 6 plus 6 plus that AD, which was 5.07, so let's add it up. So in your calculator, 6 plus 6 is 12, plus that new value you just found, you should get 17.07141 ... Okay, not bad, so we're near the end of this now. Now, what I'll do, now you can just add them up and just have a couple decimals. So let's collect like terms, yeah? So we're going to add up the non-x terms, so 12 plus 5 over 3 pi. Let's put it in the calculator, 12 plus 5 over 3 pi. You can round this value up, yeah? It should give us something like 17.2359 ... And then write plus. And now collect the x terms. So you got 2x plus 5 over 18 pi x. So in your calculator, just write 2 plus 5 over 18 pi. 2 plus 5 over 18 pi. And I got about 2.87. I'm going to round this up here to 66 and write x. And equals the right hand side, yeah? And 2 times whatever that is. That's it. Yeah, and at this stage, let's just see if we got all the values right. It's always good to double check because this is the last question. Well, anyway, if it's right or not, well, you guys can always double check, yeah? Now, and then you just subtract across. Now you just make x a subject. So to do it fast, do this right hand side, take away the first set of decimals. So you got 2.87266x equals that, take away the first side. So that should give us, let me see what it gives us. 141 minus 17.2359. You should get about 16.90. I don't know. You get some round. You might get slightly different values, and then divide that by the volume from the x. So that answer over 2.87266, and you should get an answer of roughly 5.885 ... and they want an answer to 3 cent figures, so x should be approximately 5.89. That works. Well, other than that, guys, I hope you guys have a nice day, and I shall see you in the next video. Take care.